this is what 30's like, it's not so bad.
It's not so bad at all.
Oh shit. Let's go. Do I want to drive it? Yeah, I want to drive it. What the fuck? Woo!
Go get everywhere you want to go in life and just enjoy each step that you're at. Because every step's amazing. It's important to leave room for things to go better than you can ever imagine. What if it can all turn out better than you can imagine? And you have to just attach yourself to the idea that everything can go better than you can ever imagine, reminding yourself that you're gonna die. And it just changes your perspective towards life. Fear doesn't protect life, it prevents it. Define failure as not trying. I'd rather live with the oh wells than the what ifs. The real risk is never doing the thing that scares you. First podcast at the house?
The first pod ever.
I liked what you said. If this is what 30's like, it's not so bad.
It's not so bad at all. Yeah, dude, you're living the dream out here, actually.
But I think what's like, I would love to say it too to young people is like, you'll get everywhere you want to go in life and just enjoy each step that you're at. Because every step's amazing. It's fun when you're living with 8 friends in your frat house. In college, it's fun in your little apartments. Like, it's all good.
It's funny because as you, like, we were talking about that before, obviously down there, is like, I don't know, as you're giving me this house tour, I know you're big into manifesting and whatnot,
Yeah.
but like, this is some shit that like, I would have been dreaming about like 2 years ago, like coming out to LA,
Yeah.
working on a business that I hadn't started yet. And then meeting up with somebody like you and like being in a huge house in the hills, like filming a podcast is like, all of it sounds like ridiculous when I say it out loud.
I love manifesting and all that, and I would say there's 2 things though. Step 1 is just enjoying what you have, because this house is nothing if you don't have friends to come to, and if you're not happy in the house, you'll never have a big enough house that will make you happy. And so it's like the more that you manifest, the more I've realized like you already have the things that you want. You're healthy, you have great friends, great family, like nothing, you're good. You know, you already won. But then the other reason, and this like relates to like goal setting too, is like as it relates to manifesting, it's important to leave room for things to go better than you can ever imagine. And that's probably, I talk about that quote all the time.
Saying, yeah.
It came from this rapper, Russ, and Jay Shetty. I saw that quote years ago, and it's like, what if it can all turn out better than you can imagine? And you have to just attach yourself to the idea that everything can go better than you can ever imagine. And it's like, I'm not huge on setting goals for myself. Your goal isn't the house or anything, right? That's all a byproduct of it. It's no different than like, you might manifest being in shape or having a 6-pack, but the work is to do it. And if you show up to the gym every day, you'll get in better shape than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
But like, you have to do the work to get there. And what's important is just focus on doing the work out of joy. And then like, I like this idea of like letting the universe cook.
No, you're huge on like, if there's anybody that has the abundance mindset, it's you. And that's why I love like being able to, you know, call you or whatever once a month when I need that like reality check. Like I'll call him if I get like, you know, an hour here or there or whatever. And just like, he'll just like whip me back into reality of like,
Yeah.
Because gratitude is actually, like, as you were saying, been the most powerful quality that I've learned about in the past 2 years, because I've realized, like, as I get out of bed earlier in the morning or I stay up later at night trying to do these things, it's not because of, like, people say, like, discipline or consistency. Yeah. It's because of gratitude. Yeah. Like, the fact, it's so cringy, but, like, the fact that I got another chance to level up in the game is, like, I'm like, all right, I can't waste this one, you know? It's gratitude every time.
You mentioned like getting out of bed. Like one of the best things that I do every morning, I mean, I need to be better at like every morning, but literally when you wake up, you're alive. There are people who die in their sleep. And so it's like and all you have is that day too, because something might happen that day. And so I like to you'd be so much more grateful for yourself and your life when you think like, oh my gosh, I was like, pretend you died while you're sleeping and then you got brought back to life. You know, just waking up even tired is way better than the alternative. Waking up with a busy day is better than the alternative. And it's like, imagine if you had a second chance at life, like you truly died and you got to come back to life. Like, first of all, how much would you appreciate everything? And then you'd be so grateful for your friends, your family, the ability to work, and then also just for yourself. Yeah. So, and then one other thing I was gonna say about abundance mindset is like, I think abundance mindset is such a good indicator of how people feel about themselves and their lives. Because the people who are abundant have so much to share, and it's like realizing that your cup is already overflowing, and so you can share things with other people. Like, I'm not worried about gripping too tightly. I don't need to make the last dollar in every deal. Like, if a girl doesn't like me, that's fine. I'll set her up with my friend. Like, you know that your life is gonna be amazing and full of all the things that you want, so you can share. And that's the most important thing, because you don't wanna have, like I said, you don't wanna have a big house with no one to share it with,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, back to what you were saying before, just to kind of ground where that thought came from, for me at least, because you were saying like the gratitude of like being alive and you get another day and things happen, and imagine if you died in your sleep and then somehow could come back.
Yeah.
Like I 3 years ago like had that lowest point of my life.
Yeah.
And I took a bunch of like mushrooms because I was like, I'm gonna figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
Just being like a dumb kid, and went through like the most transformative like mushroom trip of my life, where I saw myself like, you know, without getting gory, like end it all. And then what that looked like.
Yeah.
Like my mom when she found
Oh
out,
my
all
God.
these crazy things, right? And then I sobered up, you know, on that bathroom floor where I like had just ended it all. Like I actually did die and then come back. And one thing that only through like recent reflection I figured out was like the reason that my life is so different now is because of that moment. Because every day that I wake up now, I feel like I'm getting away with something.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
the gratitude of like feeling like you're getting away with something
Yeah.
for waking up is like, I don't know, it's been a superpower and a blessing.
Yeah,
but
man,
it's
you're
just like
it's a good way to think about it. You're driving like it's stolen, right?
Yeah.
And like, I think like I think people shy away from talking about death, right?
Yeah.
And I don't make light of death. And for anyone who's lost anyone, obviously my heart goes out to you. And I think though the greatest supplement I've ever found is reminding yourself that you're gonna die. And it just changes your perspective towards life, because the way I think about it is life is all just a big game. Like we're literally on a little blue ball and nothing.
yeah.
Like we're so minuscule, it's ridiculous. And so if you're lucky, you'll be here for 80, 90 years. That's like a blink of time in history, and everyone dies, right? And so while it's our little time, we are stealing the chance to be alive, right? And it's like Steve Jobs said it really well, that everything's pretty funny when you think of death, because there's no reason to not follow your heart, not take that risk, not reach out to that person, because like we all march to the same fate. And there's nothing to lose, because we all lose. And so while you're alive, you are kind of cheating the system.
Yeah, you're getting away with it.
You're getting away with it. But like, I like this idea that fear doesn't protect life, it prevents it.
Yeah.
You know, like I think what holds most people back is obviously fear. And those fears are ridiculous, because it's basically mostly just typing into a keyboard. Whether you're reaching out to that person, whether you're reaching out to that job, whether you're working on your business, you're not gonna get hurt. No one's gonna reach through the keyboard and like grab you. And,
Yeah.
you know, like you're fine. But I think what's important is to kind of have like, I like this idea that you have to kind of go face to face with death, and then be like, oh, I'll see you later, but not now.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think that's why it's such a good metric to define certain decisions by, is like, well, what's the worst case scenario that
What's
could
the
happen?
worst that can happen?
And then even to flip it, like with you, you're like, well, what if it goes better than expected?
Yeah.
But even like putting in that position of like, okay, well, if I fail, like, is anything really gonna be that bad?
Well, so that's actually really important to consider. And that was like a big thought that led me to moving to Miami, which was the biggest risk I'd ever taken. I moved to Miami, I didn't know anyone, across the country from all my friends and family. And so it's important to actually run the numbers about what's the worst that can happen, because everyone is so afraid of what if they fail. So let's figure out what happens if you fail.
Yeah, you
and then
move
you
back.
realize there's nothing, like run the numbers. Like I moved to Miami. I don't make any friends. I don't like the company I go work for, and I definitely don't like being on boats drinking Aperol Riches. Like it's not my thing, you know. I get see. So it's not a fit. Obviously not the case, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, so what happens? You know, you're in a year-long lease, so you're out there for a year, and it's like a year later, I can move right back to LA, probably to the same apartment building with the exact same group of friends, and I could probably go back to the same job. And so it's like, is that the risk? You took 1 year of your life, and if you think about it, your life is long. When you're 95 years old looking back on your life and your grandkids are like, what are all these pictures? And it's like, oh yeah, like I went to Miami, I forgot about that. Or you might look back and be like, yeah, that was actually the year that changed everything because everything went better than you can imagine. And so it's like, you have nothing to lose. All it is really an investment of time. And the real risk, this is actually another thing, is the real risk is never doing the thing that scares you.
Yeah, and on that note, like for people that aren't easily motivated, that kind of sounds like to them that we're regurgitating like certain things that we've heard that are like helped us. Like to ground that thought, I always put it in like a what if scenario. And if I have to ask myself what if, then that's gonna bug me more than finding out that I failed.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather go try the thing, know exactly how it went, and then I failed from it, weirdly, then I know exactly like where I went wrong and I learned. But regardless of all that, like I'd rather sleep with I failed than what if I tried.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I just gotta keep swinging.
It is funny because I guess like, there's all these like mantras, right? But I rebuilt my perspective on life. I retooled my mind based on all these things that I learned from hearing from successful people what their tips were. And as it relates to what you said, you'd rather try and fail than not try, right? And I think like one of the core guiding principles is like, I'd rather live with the oh wells than the what ifs. Because you can always look back and be like, oh, that was so stupid. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. And it's like, oh well.
Yeah.
But the what ifs haunt you to your grave. And the way that Amal Clooney, George Clooney's wife, someone asked her what advice would she tell her 25-year-old self? And she said, define failure as not trying. And I just attached to that for my entire life. Because you can never know and you can't control whether or not you'll succeed or fail, ultimately. Say you reach out to your dream job. That's all you can do. You can't really control if you got the job because maybe they hired the CEO's friend. That's out of your control. And all you can control is your actions, and what holds people back from taking action is they're worried about the outcome.
Yeah.
And you can't control the outcome. The only thing you can do towards the outcome is give it your best try. That gives you the best chance to get the outcome that you want, but the outcome's out of your hands. And so all you can do is try. And it's funny because you go to bed happier failing because you can at least be proud of yourself for trying. And
have like people love certainty. We were talking about that before. At least for a certainty, like I tried, I failed, and it was because of this reason.
Right.
Now, the weird thing is then once you do that, you're like, well, then I'm gonna try again because I can not make that same mistake.
Yeah. Something that I think is important to realize as it relates to that too, like as you talked about certainty, you're afraid of being told no and getting rejected. But that's actually a good answer. You have to realize that, my dad taught me this, like life's about getting to the answers of things. Because some paths will continually open up to you. You keep getting yeses, right? Green lights.
Yeah.
And it's like, bang, keep going down that path. Yeah, Minnie McConaughey right here. Literally, the second coming of him. And it's like, so these paths keep opening up to you, right? But then we all have all these paths open to us. And the hard thing is to figure out what path to go, what city to live in, what job to do, maybe even who to date, right? And you can't do it all at once. And so being told no is actually an amazing data point because like this path isn't the one for me. That road is closed. Great. I can now go try all these other things because it's not like you have infinite options. Like it's actually something, as a Padres fan, we have a really good GM who's like this crazy deal maker. Like he's bet the farm every single year. We'll win a championship. And I came across this quote that I loved about him. And it said, he plays the game like he has infinite chips at the table. He's betting the farm every year. And the reason that he's able to do that is he's really good at evaluating young talent. So he can always refill his pipeline of prospects. And you're the same way though. Anyone's the same way. You can refill your opportunities at will. You can exhaust all your opportunities, get right back on the horse, and have all these other opportunities. So you should be living life all in and like really pushing to get answers on things. Because you'll open all these doors for yourself, and the doors that close to you, it doesn't really matter because there's a million more that'll open to you.
And I wonder if you agree with this, but I was kind of like, you know how it is, like you film a lot of videos for social
Yeah.
media, so like sometimes you're just kind of spewing and then you edit it and this is what comes out. But like I made this video where I said like people have too much opportunity, and that's why they get stressed out and confused, because like if you actually, and it'll feed into the girl thing too, because you kind of brought that up, but like if there's 1,000 doors in front of you, like it's an overwhelming task to walk through all of them. But if you were like so expressively yourself, a lot of them would close, and people see that as a bad thing. And that's where like employment comes in. Like a lot of people are like, oh, like Chris, you shouldn't post this video or that because you're not gonna be able to like get a real job one day. And I'm like, well, I hope I don't have to get a job. Like, but to that point, then I have a better idea of where I could actually be happy. There's not like an overwhelming landscape of doors that I have to now like be like, oh, I'm still so lost in life. Like, okay, there's 3 roads for me now. I'm gonna put all of it into one, it might fail, all of it in another, and then, oh, boom, this is the one I was supposed to find all along.
100%.
So,
I mean, it's really like this analysis paralysis thing, right? The way I describe it is like you're in a jungle and there's a million paths to you. You're not really lost. You're just stuck in the middle of the jungle and you're trying to figure out how to get to the ocean. And so there's all these paths, right? And everyone's like, I don't know what path to walk down. So they don't move and they don't actually do anything with their life, right? And I do like to talk about it in dating terms because everyone can understand that. And it's like what we were talking about earlier. I was telling Chris that I'm taking a more aggressive approach to life. You know, it is a more aggressive way to play life, but it's much more effective. Of just making people make decisions for you. You don't have the time to date 100 people and figure out who's ultimately gonna like you the most. And you can knock off some of those options by being yourself so that they can make the decision for you. Like, you know what? That's not my vibe, right? And then they won't respond to your message or whatever, and they'll remove themselves from your life. And that's a good thing for you.
Yeah,
because that's you getting your answer. That path is closed. So now it's like, okay, I don't know where to go. And it's like, boom. Now it's a lot clearer what doors are the ones to walk down. All the while, it's a win-win-win because what's important to understand is the right people will always stay. The people who love you for you. And the more that you're you, the more they love you. Like, I love seeing you expressing yourself and posting and just following what gives you the most energy, because what's going to make me the most happy is seeing the maximum version of Chris, because I see what you're capable of. And that's how you're going to get where you want to go fastest and have the most fun. And then, so the right people always stay and you win, because no one's happy holding yourself back and watering yourself down and caring what people think. You know, like I'm clearly the best version of myself when I'm shooting from the hip. Doing what feels right, throwing up stories, whatever, posting whatever, like what's coming naturally to me without worrying about and analyzing it and how it's going to be perceived. And I posted a thing yesterday, let people think whatever the fuck they want to think.
Dude, and like at least then you know that like, all right, well if I'm being judged, at least I'm being judged for who I actually am. Like people are always going to have their own takes, but at least like you didn't misrepresent yourself. And then you're like, oh, I got screwed. And now they have this false like representation.
They don't have to like me.
It's like, okay, well, they hate me for who I am, and that's actually okay. That's actually okay.
Like,
all right.
Okay, the flip side is imagine them liking you for who you're not.
Yeah.
And
well,
so it's like, okay, and then at what, say you're not yourself to get someone to date you. And so they fall in love with the version of you that you're pretending to be. Okay, a year later, when do you take the mask off?
Yeah. Then
and
your
like
whole life's
that's
swept away
not,
again.
and your whole life's a waste, you know? And so it's like, I just think, I mean, it's definitely like a more aggressive way of playing it, but it's way more fun that way.
Well, I think also people like always gravitate towards, like everyone's like a lot smarter than like a lot of people think. And I think that's like, well, we won't even go into all that, but like, it's just like, you know when someone's lying to you, you know when somebody's not really telling you the full truth, you know when someone's bullshitting you. So it's like, to the same extent, people are gravitated towards those who are being like 100% themselves. Like if you walk into a room and you're excited and you're like one of my things this year is like, I want to be like Buddy the Elf this year.
Dope.
Like I just want to come in super positive. I don't care if I'm in a jail cell, the mailroom, like I'm dancing, you know, and like that's okay. And maybe there's one guy that's gonna put liquor in my coffee and the rest are gonna hate me. I don't care, but I'm gonna meet that one guy.
I mean, it's, well, I'll give you 2 examples. Like, who's the least likable person? The tryhard.
The cool guy.
And, well, the dude that's
Yeah.
like trying to be cool. Like
Yeah.
everyone sees right through that, and he gives off
Yeah.
terrible energy. I talk a lot about how, you know, the key to having magnetic energy, and there's no greater accelerant in your life than just being someone who people want to be around. And how do you become someone who people want to be around? Ultimately, people are selfish creatures, so they care about how you feel. That's the whole idea of energy. Like, they have such good energy, right? What does that mean? People enjoy spending time with you and hanging out with you. And why? And if you think about it, the people with the best energy are present and alive and fun, like intoxicatingly fun. You know, there's like the kids like to call it like aura, right? But there's an air about these
Aura.
people that they're just like addicting to be around because you feel good around them. And there's a quote that it's like, the free soul is rare, but you know when you're with them because you feel very good. And so the way you become that is just by deciding for yourself that I like myself. I don't need you to like me. I don't need you to like the clothes that I'm wearing. I don't care. I already like me. And most people go into social relationships, social interactions, it's all a competition to try to get them to like you. You know, you're trying to wear, or not you, but like people try to wear the right things, try to say the right things, try to do the right things in hopes that someone will approve of them. So then they can feel good about themselves. But it's actually Deion Sanders who like gave a really good quote. And he's like, I already like me. I'm not playing to get you to like me. I already like me, I'm good.
Yeah.
And so when you have that mindset, then you can focus on just creating amazing experiences, being present and alive in the moment and cracking jokes, right? We were talking about the 4-hour lunch.
Yeah.
You know what that's gonna feel like. It's fun, it's free, it's happy, everyone's having a good time, right? And that's what creates magnetic energy, because people have memorable experiences with you.
So, I mean, you kind of said it, but I just already know, like, some people are going to be listening to it and being like, all right, these guys are just kind of, like, blowing smoke up my ass. Like, all this sounds good in thought, but, like, without the reflection type of piece, it's like, well, then how do I do that? Like, how do I stop trying to be performative, like, wearing this just because I think that maybe people will accept me? Like, what do you think is, like, for somebody who's out there, like, and they're living their life that way, like what would their first
I'm really glad you brought that up, right? And it's not all smoke in the the ass, right? Because like for me, this all stemmed from a decision at my literal low point. Several years ago, I was out of a 6-year relationship.
6 years is like
6 years,
that's
like
deep.
we started dating in college. I thought she was like my college sweetheart, all that. And so she ended up breaking up with me after 6 years. And I remember like time had passed, like maybe 6 months, and she was like, oh, I'm seeing another guy. Which for anyone, it's like, that's always the worst part of like the post breakup, is like, you have to now think about the person who you loved with someone else, right? And especially as a guy, you're comparing yourself to that guy, right?
Yeah.
Is he making her happy, right? You just think the worst thoughts. And so after torturing myself of a couple sleepless nights, I was like, you know what? Fuck this and fuck that guy. He's got to compete with me. Like, he has to fill my shoes. I'm not going to feel bad for myself about him. Like, I'm going to flip it on its head. And the reason I talk about this is like, it's all a decision. You have to decide that you like yourself. And so I did that out of necessity, basically, in this moment. Was, you know what? Fuck it. I love who I am. I love what I bring to the table. I love all the people in my life. I love where my life's been. I love where my life's headed. I love all the people that are going to come into my life. And it was just a decision, because you have to be okay with the fact that some people aren't going to like you. You know, this was my girlfriend of 6 years who basically was like, you know what? I'm not going to be in his life. I'm going to walk out of his life. And where you lose the end state of all this, where my confidence comes from, and I think the confidence for most people is like, I am who I am, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
You don't have to, like, there's another thing that I like to say is like, the train doesn't wait for anyone. You know, like, I know where I'm headed in life. There's already hundreds of the best people on board, right? I'm on your train, you're on my train. Like, we didn't have to fight for each other to be there. Like, right when we met, it's like, this is my guy. We're on.
It is crazy how that happened, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and so there's another thing that'll come from that, right? But it's like, the train doesn't wait for anyone. Like, there's already so many amazing people in your life who got their ticket, showed up early, they're already in the bar cart having drinks, right? And it's like, if you don't want to be in my life, no problem, because we don't need you, and it's not going to change the trajectory. And the last thing I'll say on this is like, it's funny how we met. I don't even know how we met.
Aren't those the best friendships though? I'll tell you how I met you, because for you it's probably even more random, but for me, well, actually first, I want to say this because we'll transition off that, but it's funny that in the lowest point for you, you decided, screw it, I like myself. Because for me, I looked in the mirror and I said, all right, I hate myself. And I was like, so what do we do?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, like, dude, if you would have seen the skeleton that I was, like, I was going through a lot of shit, but like, I was like, all right, I need to start working out again. I need to start, like, I was so isolated, so like my social anxiety was so bad, I couldn't even talk to like my family. I was like, all right, I need to start saying hi to people again.
Yeah.
I need to start like face the music.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, so if I know I hate myself in this ground zero, like, it's a very clear lineage of like, I can do better than this.
Yes.
And I can do better than that. And then it's just, you know, we were talking about being uncomfortable and how like you get numb to that. Yeah. And, but like, so it's funny that the power for you was saying, I like myself, I decided that. Like for me, I decided I don't like myself, and I'm okay with knowing that because I can change it.
Yeah.
And then using compassion in the way that I am only human was what kept me like being okay with the near misses. Like I went up to someone in the gym and I said hi just because I was like, I gotta say hi to 5 random people every day.
Goal,
like
man.
Weird little goals.
And that's a great goal.
Dude, like if you would have seen my notes app, like coming back to school, like it would have been so weird, but I had like little goals that I had to do. Like I had to say hi to 10 strangers, like I had like whatever. And so I would, you know, as you imagine, mess up interactions. Like I would say, how you doing? They would say, what's up? And I'd be like, I'm good, how are you? You know, like little things where you mess up and you're like, fuck, all right, move on to the next one.
Yeah.
I showed myself that compassion, like, all right, I messed up that interaction, but we're still gonna go at the next one. But it was weird that it was just, the compassion was there in both of us, but I decided I hated myself.
Yeah.
And you decide like, I'm gonna be okay with it, like I love
then
myself.
I do like what
The
you said is
compassion
like
is
that
the-
you're only human, right?
Yeah, you gotta have
Because
that compassion,
There's a really
self-love.
good idea of, even though like, well, there's an idea of like there's dark motivation and light motivation.
Yeah.
Dark motivation is like, oh, you're fat, you're ugly, you have to go to the gym, you have to lose 50 pounds. There's light motivation as well, which is still, I can see myself losing 50 pounds because that's the best version of me and I'm not there yet, but I'm gonna become that. And I think like dark motivation doesn't really work, but I still think yours was light motivation because you hated yourself, but you attached to becoming who you could be in a positive way, letting yourself mess up interactions, right? Dark motivation never works because say you are overweight and you lose that weight, you've now convinced yourself that you're horrible and ugly because then you lose 50 pounds and you'll never think you're good enough, right? Because every day in the mirror, you're like, you're fat,
Well,
you're
that's where
unworthy,
perspective has like that, you know, important relationship
and so
with it for sure. Yeah.
What I like, I'm ultimately like, there's this balance for me of like, it's not like I'm hard on myself, but I expect the best out of myself. I demand so much out of myself, and I'll get hard at myself occasionally. Like, hey, you gotta get this together. But ultimately, I'm very easy on myself because I let myself make mistakes. I don't beat myself up over mistakes because it's how you learn. You know, you had to mess up all those interactions. I've had to mess up so much shit. Like investing is a great example. If you knew how much money I've lost doing stupid shit I knew not to do, but you have to lose money. You have to, you know, like one of my friends, like, what should I do? I fumbled this girl. I'm like, you gotta just get back on the board and paddle right back out. Like you have to fumble to get it. Mark Wahlberg said it really well. He's like, you always want to go back and like shake them and be like, don't do this. But like you have to make the mistake because that's how you learn the lesson.
Well, in some lessons you can only learn by yourself, you know?
I
Like
mean, that's
there's
what
so
it's
many things my parents have warned me about that like, I mean, God bless them, but I had to go do it and then just mess up so that I could agree, you know?
Every
and, like,
lesson, actually, I think like all the
you know.
cliches in life, lessons too, are true, but you have to experience them. And your parents try to teach you, don't do this, or money doesn't make you happy, or you don't know what you got until it's gone, but you don't believe it until you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, you know, as it relates to closing this off, like even when I was at, like, I call it rock bottom, right? And I think one of the best things that could ever happen to anyone is to temporarily just like have it all go to shit for a second. Because for me, that became the foundation to which I rebuilt my life. You know, it can't get worse. You're at your worst.
Yeah.
So there's only
How
one
freeing
place
is
to
that?
go.
Yeah.
There's only one place to go. And it's when you're at the very bottom is when there's the springboard that springboards you right back to where you belong. And I actually say too, like, you know, you hated yourself in that moment. I think a lot of people do hate themselves, right? And so I even did this. I talk about take a vacation to rock bottom. Pack your bags, go on a 3-day staycation, and go to rock bottom and just say all the mean things you want to say to yourself. Yeah. Like talk all the shit you want to yourself and really spend 3 days like hating yourself. And then vow to never do it again. Never say those things to yourself again. Never treat yourself like that again. Because a different quote from Russ that, like I'm telling you, this is how I learned all this stuff. He said, you're either your biggest hype man or your harshest critic. And I would venture to guess like 99% of people are their worst critic. You know, they spend all day talking shit to themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about this before, like, you know, like when I would hear the murmurs or whatever of like stuff, like obviously sometimes like it is like what you expect or what you're imagining, but you know, sometimes it's really not, and you're just building it up way bigger in your head.
I mean, it goes back to like, it goes back to everything you do is like that. You can either choose to see the negative what if or the positive what if. We were talking about creating content and like, you know, it's very vulnerable to put yourself out there to the people you care about the most or are trying to impress or even trying to date, right? And you assume, oh, they think I'm a loser for this, or like, oh, that's so cringe, or like whatever, right? But you're wrong in that assumption, you know, because like I was telling Chris, like, you know, yeah, you get the anonymous trolls that are like, yeah, gotta know what he's talking about, right? And it's like, okay. But it's like more often than not, people come up to me and they're like, hey, I love your content. Like, you really helped me with this. Like, you changed me. And it's like even much more like drastic. Actually, some dude yesterday created a burner account with my name and followed me. I was like, yo, like, what's up with this name? And he's like, I don't have Instagram, but I'm listening to a podcast of yours and I'm such a fan.
Yeah.
That's kind of like,
this is the first positive burner.
He's like, I'll change it. I was like, yeah, like, I would appreciate that. But like, that's pretty cool actually to think about the impact that you're having, that they're like, it's like LeBron fan one, you know, like that's kind of the impact that you're having. And so like, why don't you attach yourself to the fact that you're having an impact on people and helping make people's lives better, and like that people, you don't even account for the fact that so many people are like, hey, I wrote down something you said. Like they wrote down something they said. You just like attach yourself to the one person that maybe is like, man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's gonna be like the people that are like negative are gonna be way louder.
I actually don't know if that's the case. I think we all take it way more personally.
I don't know. For me, like I definitely
they are louder,
have like more people in my comments or like more burners or whatever. Like I'll even get added to group chats full of people with burners that like are just going like nuts. But then it's like a random person in the bar, you know, comes up to me and like they're obviously pretty drunk, but like you know, saved my life
people
without knowing it or whatever. And I'm like, okay, like all of those, you know, like 100+ people saying whatever for the one person to be like, you've done this for me, or like I felt seen for the first time when you said this or whatever. Like, all right, like yeah, I fool around a lot, yeah, I make a lot of jokes, like I'm having fun, but like I was able to make a difference in someone else's life, and that was sick. But to transition back to like how we met, because it is so funny, and it is kind of like weirdly like corresponding to this, is I started posting content and I was bad at it, so I was getting trolled a lot or whatever, but I was just posting on TikTok because I was still like half sending. I was like, I can't do Instagram yet. And I made like a couple videos that did okay, after like a couple hundred, by the way. And this guy, Sam Westfall, DMs me, and he goes on Instagram and he's like, hey, like, I know this guy, like, I think you would really like his content, whatever. You should join this group me, which is your group me. And so that's how I got put on to you. And then like a week or two after, you were on the Squid Talk, like, and all that. And but anyway, there's a whole weird story of how I got put on to Lucas, but so funny
Also
because
the boy. Love Lucas.
but like, it's so funny because if I never made those couple hundred videos, Sam would have never seen my content and been like, this is pretty sick, and you remind me of my buddy Cole.
Yeah.
And then if I never joined the group me and threw in a couple quotes or whatever, then you never would have met that. And then like, you know, it's all just because like you were forcing the world to like just be like, this is me, this is what I got. And then I saw that as I was doing it, I was like, sweet. And then, you know, not even a year later, it's like we're sitting here filming the first podcast.
It's pretty epic. Yeah,
Pretty
first house,
epic.
which is epic. So
So,
cheers to that.
yeah.
It's all better for that. I mean, there's so I think because a lot of people are really fearful to post content, to put themselves out there, it's really important to realize it's all upside. Because we've both gotten millions of views, and then we have whatever our respective followings are. So you have to understand that the bulk of people don't opt into your life. They don't click follow. They just scroll right.
No,
Yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that.
Figure that out, man.
But it's like the bulk of people don't opt in, and that's fine. You know, they don't like. They're just on their thumb scrolling. They don't reach out to you. It's like fat, ugly, stupid. You know. So they just scroll past you, right? And you'll never know their names. But what's important is not only just the people that follow or engage, but it's like the ones that take action. Yo, I love, you know, it's like pretty easy to get a hold of anyone. Yo, I love what you're doing. Like, it gives me a lot of energy. It charges me up. Like, would love to connect. It's like, cool, you know? And it's like, I met one of my very best friends for life through Twitter.
Really?
And it's like, if everything that I do fails,
You got that.
the fact that I met one of my best friends, one of the people who pushes me the most, one of the people I admire the most, I've traveled with him, I've met his family, like I have amazing memories with him. If everything I do fails, this entire experience was worth it. I got a lifelong best friend out of it. And so it's like also important to realize like it's only upside. Because if like that's it. Like it's an amazing way to put yourself out there and let the algorithm connect you to the people that you have the most interest in. You know, there's this idea of like the art of creating your own yacht.
You got to dive into that.
Okay, so you
know what that means.
You know when a yacht pulls up,
Sure.
south of France.
I'm still to get
Cabo,
there.
right?
Big yacht guy, though.
I'm over the bar swimming on the boat, having spritches. Okay, so the art of creating your yacht. Everyone knows when a fat yacht pulls up into town, and everyone wants to be on it, and so everyone wants to get to know them. And so you have, the idea of positioning and creating your own luck is a really underexplored topic, but you have to make it so that life comes to you instead of you're trying to go to all of it, right? Like there's 8 billion people here. It's a lot easier to be a magnet that pulls in the right people to you who have interest in you, interest in where you're going, interest in what you're doing, interest in vacationing in the same places. And you do that by expressing yourself. You know, I express and share my mind, and people reach out to me and are like, hey, I love the way you think. I would love to connect. I'm like, sure. From literally writing a tweet, now there's people on the phone. And these are valuable people to connect with. And even though it's like cool people it's people to help, right? And so it's like, you have to make life easy on yourself. It's impossible to go find all the good people, but you can just throw up a flag that like, hey, over here, this is what we're doing. And it's like this idea of creating content is like, share your mind and your world so the people who want to be a part of it can be.
Yeah.
Makes it super easy, right?
Dude, I know. And the more I do it, the cooler it gets too.
The way, you know, like you have no idea who's watching, and it's been really cool now that I've been doing this for a long time, but now it's like really starting to grow, and like people who you've admired and really look up to follow you. And now you can just DM them like, yo, what, like huge fan of yours, like would love to connect. And they're like, yeah, I love your stuff. It's like, great.
Dude, so random. Like I've had a few of those. One of them, like probably the biggest one, was when I was like just starting too.
Yeah.
And that was just like insane. Well, just starting on Instagram.
Right.
Like I'd already posted probably like 500 videos, but things just started kind of turning or whatever. And then, yeah, super random. I was like, what the hell? And I was like, all right, well, if this guy's like watching, like I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
And it ties into, I'll give you a cliche. Like there's two things I've been living by. The other one kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier, but I'll leave that one alone. And then this one where it's like, you're not meant to fit in with the people around you or like just please them.
Yeah.
You're meant to earn your seat at the table with the people who inspire you. And like,
That's cool.
if you live your life as if they're watching, because eventually they will be, or like,
They probably
would they
are,
be
right?
friends with you, you know? And
Yeah.
like, do they find that stuff cool? And if the answer is yes, then like, who cares?
Yeah.
And so when I post a video, that's the metric that I think about. Most of the time, I mean, you post so many, it's like, all right, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm just yapping, but like, most of the time I'm like, all right, is this kind of cringe? Yeah, but is it strategic? And like, would the person that I want to like do business with or like go grab drinks with see that? Yes. All right, then who cares? Like, I don't care anymore.
But I think like the people who you resonate with or aspire to be, cringe isn't a thing they think about.
Because yeah, they get the
And we all know that it's the process of getting there,
yeah.
right? And it's like you've talked a lot about putting up like 500 videos, right? And it's like if you want to be good at something, you have to be bad at it first. You know, like no one is legitimately like a first video success, right? And it's something I've been thinking a lot about is there's an artist right now who's uploading music to SoundCloud with 0 listeners.
Yeah.
0 listeners. And they will have sold out stadium shows in 2 years. No one knew of Tate McRae or Sabrina Carpenter 5 years ago. They're the biggest artists right now. So like those people who you want to be at those tables with, you know, like I even think about it too. Like this is how I learned all this stuff. Like Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Russ the rapper. Like these guys all have the same perspectives. They all talk about the same stuff because it's all the same codes to success, no matter what you're doing. So it's like cringe, or you want to talk about failure with Michael Jordan? Like I love his thing. He's like, yeah, I've missed like 9,000 shots in my career.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I've missed game winners. It's gonna happen. Part of the game. And like as it relates to cringe, this fear of being cringe, you know, like first of all, I think we're all worried about impressing the lamest people. You know, anyone who's like doing dope shit is cool and is failing, right? And I support that. And it's like you're getting judged by someone who's working a fucking job they hate and posting on LinkedIn about how they're excited to use some new AI tool. It's like, who is cringe here, right? But it's only cringe if it doesn't work. And you control if it works, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to suck at it. And this is my mental model. It's only cringe if it doesn't work because I'm gonna have to suck at it and there's growing pains to get there.
Yeah.
But when I'm gassing up the jet, taking all my friends to Cabo, it's like, was it cringe?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you thought that was cringe, like, no problem. You don't have to come.
Yeah.
That's
Well-
what you have to do. You have to go, like, you have to go right through the fucking work.
Yeah. And on that note, just to ground this, like, for people out there that don't do social media or whatever, or are looking to get into social media, like, the difference is like, on social media, you're just like any other skill. When you start, you're bad at it. It is cringe. Like the first couple hundred videos I made were cringe. They were bad. I deserve the hate that I got for it. Luckily, I didn't stop. But like, you know, I got a friend who's doing real estate. I guarantee you the first time he shows a house, it doesn't sell. Like it's bad, it's cringe. He messes up like everything about the floor plan or whatever. Same thing with finance. The first time they ask him that question in the interview, or like, what stock do you think is gonna be big this year, or whatever, like they're gonna mess up, but it won't be on film and they won't have to post it. It's all the exact same thing. Like you're bad at everything until you put in the reps, and like, that's exactly how social media is. Like you're figuring out how to be yourself when you're holding a camera back facing like this. It's such a weird feeling. Like even today I was filming something and I was like, God, I'm such like what the hell? But that's the process that you have to go through to get good at something. And every job and every skill and everything you'd ever do in life requires that same amount. So it's only cringe in my mind if you stop, because you won't lose
that's only
unless
failure,
you stop.
you
Like
know?
you'll fail along the way, whatever, but like you'll eventually win.
You'll
like
eventually
probability wise, like you're gonna figure it out. Something at least is gonna work. So if you give up, then that part of your life will be a little bit of a cringe maybe, but like, I don't know. It's
my
like,
favorite,
just keep going.
One of my favorite maxims is James Dyson, the founder of like Dyson vacuums. You know Dyson, luxury vacuum.
Yeah.
He didn't make a working vacuum until his 5,127th try.
Wow.
He had 5,126 failures. And the 5,127th now makes him $3 billion a year. And so it's like, But anyone who wants to get into social media, you're not willing to fail 5,126
Dude,
times,
honestly,
right?
like,
And so it's like
tough to fathom.
anyone who does that deserves the success, right? And like, yeah, social media does suck because like you have to. This is our first podcast. I wish you guys could see how this looks, right? And it's
That
like,
looks good.
but it's like we have no idea what we're doing. Like I didn't know I had to charge the camera before Chris came over. Like we have no idea what we're doing.
You might not even be able to hear us right now.
Yeah,
You
it
don't
might
even-
not even be recording, which would be a bummer.
That would be a bummer.
But and so it's like, okay, great. Now we have to upload this to our friends, our family friends, girls we're trying to date and impress, and it's like you have to just basically like fail flat on your face and advertise that to people.
Yeah.
But that's actually kind of, it again goes back to this like aggressive way of playing life, because the way I think about it for me is like I'm my own documentary crew filming my rise through life. And for the next generation, like you guys, I want you to go through my content and be like, I think you did that on purpose.
He knows we're
He
filming.
knows we're filming. So unnecessary. But it's like, I think about building my life and living my life by exactly what I'm talking about. And then it's gonna work, and then you guys can follow this exact same playbook. Like this is exactly what Cole was thinking about January 16th when he was 30.
Yeah.
This is me, right? And I know that it's gonna work, and I think it's actually really cool to document that, because it's not like after the fact, like here's the play. It's like, no, this didn't work, this worked, you know? And you can see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm so thankful that we met, because being able to hear that from you, like I have an older brother,
Yeah.
but our lives are very different.
Yeah.
And so to be able to hear that from you, and like each stage watching you practice that as well, and like how it manifests is just like, it's so awesome to have.
I appreciate that.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess like obviously you think about it as, you know, people will be able to look at it when you're, you know, you reach that certain level of success or whatever, and you
Yeah.
imagine it being older. Like I'm doing that now.
Right.
Of seeing like, I mean, obviously like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Things are pretty good, but like,
Yeah.
just like that has already helped me of just like being, you know, just like observing what you're doing and how it's actually working out and whatever is just really cool. So
I appreciate it. It's kind of like in a fun way. Like think about it like calling your shot, you know, like
Yeah.
Babe Ruth or Sammy Sosa or whatever. You know, you're calling your shot. Like you got to speak things into existence, and you got to believe you got to know you're going to get there. And then it's like, it's just actually more fun to all do it together. Like really the reason I started dedicating, there's two reasons I started sharing content. The first is being the resource that I wish I had. I don't have an older brother.
yeah.
I don't have a dude who is, you know, like my dad actually gave me incredible advice. You might think it was unhelpful, but when I went to him and I was lost and like heartbroken and all this stuff, he was like, don't worry about the heartbreak. That's the reason a lot of great songs are written, which is fun, right? And he's like, as for what to do with your life, like,
I'll start playing guitar tomorrow.
he's like, it's your life. Do whatever you want, you know? I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, great, thanks. But he's like, you know what? You're smart, you're capable, you're ambitious, you're hardworking. You're gonna be a smash success. So just figure out what you want to do. And then it's like, man, how the fuck do you figure out what you want to do? You know, you're in college right now. There's no class on that. To go through Lazard Investment Banking, one of the top investment banks, then to private equity, nowhere along that way is it figure out who you want to be and start plotting your course. And so it's like, I'm really trying to be the resource I wish I had most when I was 25. And then ultimately though, then the resource that I wish I had when I was 35, you know, when I'm balancing how you know, okay, now you're married and you have a family and there's all these other demands in your life. To still do what you want to do in the same amount of time when there's all these other things that need your attention, right? So I'm going to learn a bunch. And then when I'm 45, okay, now how do you do that? Because now you got to coach the little league kids. And then when you're 55, like, oh shit, now your kids are off to college and you're an empty nester. And it's like, how do you then reinvent yourself so that you stay young and vibrant, right? And then you're 65 and it's like, man, now how do you look back and start reflecting on your life to really like help people?
Yeah, where's your purpose then, you know?
But that you got to keep
I
reinventing
know.
yourself.
Well, it's
you know?
different chapters.
Yeah, exactly, right? But that's ultimately how you stay young.
Yeah. No, the whole girls thing though is pretty funny. I feel like we have to hop into that now.
Let's do it.
All right, well, I'll start off with a question that I was going to ask you down there. I'm probably going to frame it worse than I would have over there, but it'll at least kick us off. But you said that, like, you like we were talking about like masculinity, femininity, whatever, how like it all plays into each other regardless. The thing was you said like a man has to have a certain level of confidence and a woman has to have a certain level of confidence to like, if, you know, for you, for instance, like you got all these things going for you and like you're a good looking dude, like a girl is gonna have to be confident to the point where like, well, I don't have trust issues. Like, yes, other people are gonna look at you and want that life, whatever, but it's like, it doesn't matter. You know, it's not gonna affect the relationship. Scaling that back down, like I had a heated discussion with some of my friends because there was this one girl, I can't remember her name, but she was like popping on Instagram, super attractive girl. But anyway, they were like,
Call her.
would you date her?
Yeah.
No, like it's not someone I know.
No,
it's
I'm
like,
fucking
yeah, I mean, I'm locked in. There's a war on women right now.
No, let's get into that later.
The point is that they were like, would you date her? And I was like, yeah, if I like that girl, like obviously I would date her. And they're like, no, dude, no, you wouldn't. Like, stop lying, Magee. Like, you wouldn't, because there's gonna be, when you go out, all these people, all these guys are gonna be hitting on her and wanting to take photos with her. Like, you're gonna get sick of that. I was like, dude, I won't care. Because like the way that I look at it is like, all right, we're in a relationship. I'm gonna do my part. I'm not gonna have trust issues. I'm not gonna like be looking at like, dude, people are like logged in each other's Snapchats and shit. So, crazy stuff that I can't fathom. Like, I'm gonna do this relationship by my morals, my virtues, and if it flops in my face, she cheats on me, whatever I find out, because eventually you will, bummer, you know. But I'm not going to try to like gate that or put a like, I don't know, like some bubble wrap on a relationship or like stiff arm dudes away because it's like they might have a better chance. That's just because you're insecure.
I mean,
like,
the only way a relationship works is when two people feel like they hit the absolute jackpot with each other. That's it. Like at one of my best friend's weddings, he was talking about his wife and he's like, she's the best thing to ever happen to me. And that was like, I started crying in that. You know, I was trying not to cry and I'm like,
fuck.
How cool is that, right?
Yeah.
Which, first of all, to everyone dating, that should be the bar for the people that you're dating. Like, is this person the best thing to ever happen to me? Because they should be. You know, they're your better half. But it goes back to, you know, nowadays, like, people can, you know, there's so much temptation. The only way it works is if you feel like you hit the absolute jackpot with someone where you'd never think of doing that because you love them and they're just so amazing, right? And you have this amazing relationship because, you know, trust issues cause you to suppress someone, which is actually the meanest thing you could do to someone you love. You know, your job as someone loving someone is to bring out the best in them, to charge them up with the most belief in themselves. You got this, babe. Like, oh yeah, you're the best. You know, like, oh, you guys are doing a girls' weekend. Like, have the best time. Like, here's a couple $100. Like, I want you to buy shots for all the girls, right? Like, have fun with that, right? And it's like, ultimately, that actually is what makes them be, like, they would never hurt someone like that. They would hurt the dude who's like, call me when you get home. You know, why are you out? Like,
why?
You know, and it's like,
dude.
I'm cool with it because, like you said, like, yo, I want whoever I date to have the best life, period. Like, I love them. I want them to be happy. I want them to have the best life. I want them to have friends. Even on a girls' weekend, like, I'd be kind of pissed if my wife or girlfriend isn't getting hit on. You know, like, and I would have that fun, right? And
everybody wants a hot girlfriend, and then they're like,
until they can't
she's
handle
gonna get
it.
hit on. It's like, any hot girl you date's gonna get hit on.
So if you can't handle
ideally,
it,
like,
yeah, and it's like, I just
she's gotta handle that. Not gonna be there.
I don't want to suppress anyone that I'm with. I want the same way I want it for myself to be the maximum version of myself. That's what I want for the people that I love the most, friends, family, and certainly someone I'm dating or my soulmate, right? And so it's like, because I have faith that I'm the best it gets. And if she wants to go cheat on me, fuck it. Be my guest. You know, like, ultimately, you're spared of that. You didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
If they want to, that's again where I talk about, like, it's in a more aggressive way to play life, but, like, let them. Give them.
Also, like, that villain art, come on, like, God planned that. He's like, I got in deep, she cheated, like, you're running up.
Running back. But it's like, you know, it's like anyone in life, friends, business, relationships, I give everyone the longest leash. I have no interest in controlling you or checking your location because that's a bad use of time for me. I have better things to do with my time. And if you go fuck it up, if you are doing shady business dealings, fucking me over, girl cheats on me, like I know it'll come back to me. Like there's enough, you know, especially like now we've got eyes all over, you know, people who we don't know who, you know, and so it's like, it'll come back to me and I'll know and we'll break up and that'll suck and I'll move on and I'll be fine. And so it's like, again, it's like, you gotta let them, you can't control people. If someone's gonna make a stupid decision, that was a ticking time bomb. But it's like ultimately the highest quality people all operate at that level. And it's the people at the low end that don't, that have to be controlling. Because
on the girl note, so obviously your answer is like famous girl. You don't have any reservations about that. Like I'm not gonna date a girl because she's famous, but I'm not gonna not date a girl because she's successful and there's a lot of guys in her DMs. Like if I get cheated on, I get cheated on. Which is like, that's why I wanted to ask you that, because I knew that you were gonna agree with me on that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, no matter how successful or whoever they are, there's a bunch of guys in all their DMs. Like that's what I said, like there's temptations for everyone, right? And it's like, I like this idea of like, we all end up with the people who look most like us on the inside. And anyone who we're gonna end up with I would never cheat on someone, ever. I've even broken up with girls that I like because I'm like, hey, I don't really, like, you're an amazing girl, like really like everything I'm looking for, but I just don't feel the spark. And it's not fair for me to date you because if I'm not gonna see us in that next step, like you deserve to go find that, right?
Yeah, if you're not all in.
And it's like, so it's like, I would never cheat on someone, right? And it's like, you find who you're meant to be with. And it's like, I'd let all the jealous, the untrustworthy types, they can duke it out with themselves. Like, you gotta just love all that, right? And it's like, I actually think at a certain level, you can just like operate at such a high frequency that those things don't come to you because the universe like protects you.
Well, and that's why I like calling it like the way you were saying before. Like, if I'm looking for a wife, I'm looking for a teammate.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, brings even more out of you. Like, not only can you be 100% yourself.
The worthy of.
Oh, yeah. Like, some chicks aren't worth your DNA, which is true. I mean, like, but
it's like your family lineage.
Yeah, no, she's not worth your DNA. But like, but regardless of DNA, it's just like, there's so much more to consider. And not only like, do I want to be 100% of myself around them, I also want them to like be able to make me more of myself. Because not, you know, like look at my grandparents and they're like 80 something years old and they were in, you know, Park City last week and they're in LA this week. It's like, they're still working so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And my grandma can't even walk without a cane, but he's like on Zoom calls or whatever because he loves what he does and he wants to like, he will die like changing the world. It's like, that's his goal, is like to heal people, make the world a better place. And what better way to spend your life than doing that? And there was no way he would have been able to do it if my grandma wasn't literally the Energizer Bunny, like around the house with 5 kids, just like throwing shit in front of them to eat or whatever. And like, I don't even know how they did it, but they just have this endless battery for life because they charge each other.
It's like, that's, you know, like you want the fairy tale, right? Like you want that. You want someone who wants you to live your best life. And there's obviously a massive component of that is with you. But there's a part of that no matter even getting married, that's a unison, but it's still 2 people living their lives, right? And it's like, you know, my parents are the same way. Like, they love each other. They've never once, like, whenever they're going out to places, like a girls' or guys' night, it's like they want each other to have fun. And it's like, I want who I'm with to have fun, to have a great life, to have friends, right? To be free. I have no desire to restrict someone that I love most. But it's like, the way to think about it is like, A, is this person the best thing to ever happen to you? And are they your best friend? You know, I'm very lucky in San Diego, most of the like family friends of ours who are all like parents to me, by and large, are all still together, 30+ year relationships. I remember at my sister's wedding, I was asking them, I was like, so what's the secret? And they're like, so-and-so is my best friend. And you would never worry about your best friend. And in fact, you would charge your best friend up.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, you got this. You're gonna have the best trip. That's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
Like, you call me if you need anything, you know? Like, and so it's just like, what do you want out of your relationship? And like, I don't know, because I think a lot of people like really are really bad at, I mean, here's a different topic. It's like life is all about betting on people. Business, friendships, and obviously who you marry. That's the most important investment you make. And people are really bad at betting on people because like, I don't know, I don't even know how they're so bad at it. It's like, oh, you really thought that dude was gonna be a good father? He's not even a good dude right now. You know, he's not even making good decisions right now. Like,
Bad DNA.
Yeah, like bad DNA. And it's like, okay, well now you have to raise your kids. You know, like your kids will have who you marry's smile and 50% of their DNA. And they'll become the person who's raising them. So like, if you don't want your own kid to be like the person you're with, why are you with them?
Yeah.
And it's like, you gotta think, okay, that's an amazing example, like your grandparents, right? Probably 80 years old, like looks fade, beauty fades, money doesn't matter in the end, status doesn't matter in the end, right? Like, and that's half of their relationship, you know? Say they're like 80. 30 years of their relationship have been 50 plus. Empty nesters.
Dude, they met when they were 14.
They met when they were 14.
Yeah.
So imagine all the phases, all the, you know, it's like
Insane.
and it's like,
High
it's so
school
interesting
and
because all
college.
the things that like you might find attractive, or like if you think about, they check all these boxes, right? Every single one of those boxes evaporates over time. And there needs to be a new box. You know, like when you're old, it's like, can they stay healthy and alive, honestly, right? And that comes down to how they lived their life, the habits they had when they were younger, the habits, how they took care of themselves, like, and ultimately your grandpa's still charging and change the world. So he'll live for a long time because he's youthful.
Well, because my grandma too.
And your grandma won't let him stop,
insane.
you know?
Yeah.
So think about the other side of that too, is like, think about how much more out of life, how much more successful all that he was because he had
Such
a
a good
superpower
teammate.
behind her.
Yeah. And well, so on that note too, it's like, it kind of comes to when we were talking about how humans are kind of conditioned to crave certainty.
Yeah.
And so then that's why, like, unfortunately, like a lot of us are like built to settle because we're like, okay, well, I have a good thing. I don't want to be greedy, you know? And I mean, I'm super lucky. Like, I guess we can go back to my family, for example. Like, my parents are both one of 5 on, you know, so like my mom's side and my dad's side, and there's not a single divorce.
Wow.
Like,
that's crazy.
if you're talking about the statistics of 60% of marriages fail, well, 100% of those 10 marriages have been great.
Wow.
And
That's so cool.
It's like, I don't know.
We need more people having good, healthy, long-lasting marriages because you realize like the opposite is the detriment of now the next generation, you know? Like it changes who you are to grow up in a loving household versus not.
Well, but the reason I bring that up too is like, on the settling note, like I'm 22 years old, like I'm in college, my parents met in college, my grandparents, like I said, met like before even high school. Like I'm not in a rush.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna jump to, like, I've met, you know, a handful of amazing girls in my life where, like you said, you know, it's like, you're amazing, but like it's just not quite there. I don't see it like working out.
Yeah.
And it's worth doing that because I mean, I'd rather meet the one at, you know, God forbid, like 40 or something, and have it be right the first time, than rush it because I'm like, this girl's really hot and she challenges me. So,
I mean,
I'm gonna lock this up and just like white knuckle it, you know? Like if it's not there and it's not the chapter, it's not the one, it's not the time, and that's okay.
You know, it's it's funny because like, you know, actually like for a long time when I was dating this girl we met in college, right? And it's like people probably thought I was gonna be one of the first people to get married, right? After 6 years, like, I don't know how old I was, 24-ish, and it's like you start to think about that stuff, right? And now it's like I would imagine maybe like 40% of my friends have gotten married, and now I'm 30, right? And I'm not no one in mind to marry at the moment, right? And so it's like you're seeing now, basically the point is you can't control the timing of your life. Whatever everyone's journey's on is your own timing. And you can't put pressure on the timeline of your life because it ultimately will make you make subpar decisions, right? Like going, whether it's with dating or like say content creation, like if I'm not a success by this date, I'm gonna go get a job. All right, well, what if you just need to go 3 months longer? And it's like the same thing with a relationship or love. And it's like, I think how you deal with uncertainty is you have to just accept that it might not work out. You know, like if you think about the probabilities of your life, there's a non-zero chance life doesn't work out. You don't meet the love of your life, something bad happens, right? The business idea just never clicked, right? That is in the spectrum, that's on the low end. That's a probability, and you have to accept that. But there's 99 other scenarios where your life goes, as I talked about, way better than you can imagine. And that's all you have to attach to. You have to understand that that's a probability, and you have to come to terms with it and be like, great, fuck it. Not gonna happen, and I'm never gonna think about it, because if you think about it, that increases its likelihood. But you just focus that it's gonna work out, and it's gonna work out.
Yeah,
I can't control. Russ, again, said a great thing. He's like, you don't know when. Like, what if you were to put all this pressure on yourself? Like, oh, if I don't have this house by 30, what happens at 30? You don't combust.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably
You know,
just
if
keep
you don't get
trying.
married
Like,
at 30,
whatever.
it's like, okay, it's actually amazing dating at 30, because like you now have built your life and have a way better understanding of yourself and what you want, what you're seeing in a partner. So it's like, it's actually really advantageous.
Yeah, well, two things on that. One, I'll just say the stupid thing first, just because like it'll get back to serious stuff. But like, I actually even said that to somebody. Like, I don't usually respond to DM requests, but this one girl, she was like really hot, just whatever. She like hit me up, and I was just like, there's a war on women right now. Like, I'm sorry, I can't, like whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, I hit the whole like garden quote. I was like, I'm still building.
Still building.
Sorry. I'm still locked in or whatever, but it was just so stupid. But so like, I totally agree. It's like right now I'm building an environment where I can have my equal opposite. Like someone will see, you know, what's going on or whatever, and like it'll work out better that way, because you know, like who knows what's gonna change or what I'm gonna learn about myself in the next couple of years. I don't need like somebody next to me who might suppress that.
Yeah.
You know, I want someone to come in and add to that, and I'm still like figuring out what that is. So like it would suffocate, you know, the ambition right now. But on your point, and I know like you don't really get into God a lot, but like for me, what I've at least been saying, because there's a lot of different ways that people can take what we're saying and like find a way it sticks for them.
Yeah.
Like for you, like it's always been the abundance mindset, and you know, what if it always goes better than you expect it? And like that's an amazing thing that I've found. For me, I'm able to give my fears up to God.
Yeah.
Like, so what I've been telling myself is, I have to row, but God will steer. Like He will sail. He will set the sails. I just have to. I just gotta keep going. You know, I just gotta keep going. And He's up there like, oh no, we're going over here.
Yeah.
Like we're going over here, and I'm just trusting that.
You
know, inputs.
So the way I like to think about it, well, first on focusing on, it starts by building a life that you're proud of. And Angelina Jolie has an amazing quote, and she says, if a man expects to have an angel in his life, he must first build heaven for her. Angels don't live in hell. And I like that.
This girl reposted that on her story.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. But
Oh my God, a hilarious thing about that actually. There was like a
I was like, well,
the
you don't make much money, so like,
There's
I
a
don't know what you
TikTok
want
trend
me to
about
do.
this, and it was like sometimes you just have to read like your dad's text and move on with the day. And this girl who I used to date, her dad sent her my TikTok with that quote, and literally sent it to her and goes, "That's a cool quote. You should put that on your like as a poster in your room or something." And she goes, "Dad, I used to date that guy."
Jeez, that's too good.
Hilarious.
For a while, it was funny. I don't know why, but my algorithm when I was first starting out, I was doing like, I'd wake up early and I'd run, and I would like say things that were motivating me, and I'd post them, and like that was ending up on all these parents For You pages.
Yeah, parents are
Also,
the
it takes a
best
certain type of like adult to be on TikTok and like
no.
scrolling for one, but there were certain people that would be like, oh, my mom's like the biggest fan of you or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck?
That's
like that's
crazy.
the algorithm hitting right now.
I mean, I
Like, and they're
guess
sending it
that's-
to their kids who go to my school. Like that's absurd.
It's absolutely hilarious. But I mean, yeah, so I mean, it's like ultimately what I've found, especially as it relates to dating, but anything in life, like you have to just focus on yourself. And I promise you, the better you get, the better everything in your life gets. The opportunities presented to you in terms of business, whatever, investments, dating options, like that's why it's the fun part. Just working to get better.
Yeah.
Become the best version of yourself, and always, you know, this is what we were going to talk about with you're rowing and God's steering the boat, right? So the way that I think about it, like a mental model that helps me a lot is the twists and turns of life.
I know you live here, but dude, this is so sick. Like, it's not gonna pick up on there, but dude, you live in a sick spot.
It's amazing. I mean,
This
I'll
is
spend a
out
lot
of a
of time
movie
just,
right now.
just reflecting up here, and it's important to enjoy it, right? Because everything we've talked about up into this
So
podcast
sick.
is something that could take you out of the present moment of enjoying the present moment. It's like, what's wrong with this moment, right? And that actually relates to my idea about the twists and turns. Is people freak out about their life. I want to meet my soulmate. I want to get married. I want to be successful. And it's like, okay, so if you're sitting in traffic, gripping the steering wheel, freaking out, gets you nowhere faster. You just had a horrible 30 minutes in traffic.
Yeah.
And so I like to think about it of like the twists and turns of life. I know I'm gonna get where I want. Actually, I don't even know where I'm going. I know it's gonna go way better than I could ever imagine because it always has, right? And so I just attach to that. And if you wanna get to places that are better than you can imagine, you can't even imagine them. So your mind is not capable of seeing the path there because you can't imagine it, right? Like it's a step function above where you're at. And so it's like, okay, then if you're gonna get there, you're gonna have to have some unexpected things happen because that's the like mystery of life that's gonna get you there, right? And so it's like, okay, can't you just like treat it as like, it's like a water slide and you're gonna get bounced around and it's gonna be like a fun little journey and like, can't you just laugh the whole way at it? Like, wow, I never imagined I'd go to Miami. I didn't see that when I was 18 or 22 like you. I didn't think I was gonna live in Miami. It was never a thought that entered my mind until I was ready to make that move. Like when I was in Miami, I didn't really see myself moving back to LA. I'm back in LA. Like it's all, you gotta let the universe, let God cook.
Yeah, here's something cringe that people hate. So there's a quote that's like, if you had the book to your life, would you read it? You know, type of thing. And it's like, well, that would take all the fun out of it, right?
Yeah, no, you don't.
And so like, I don't know, the way I've kind of reframed it for me is like, I spent a lot of my life trying to read my book.
Oh yeah.
But like the little while, like the past couple years, I've just been like looking at it as I'm writing it. And it's like, okay, what would be a better story?
Yeah.
This chapter would be way cooler if I actually took the risk. And like, so certain things, yeah, like I've made some pretty big mistakes, falling on my face a lot. And like, it's awesome because those are the best stories. Like if the camera wasn't here and we were sitting here just drinking beers or out of that bottle that has his name engraved in it, like we would be talking about those stories, dude, you know?
You know what I like? Writing the story of your book. I like to say, Hancock that motherfucker. John Hancock?
Yeah,
he signed the Declaration of Independence bigger than anyone else. Hancock that motherfucker, right? You're writing the story of your book.
That's kind of lit.
Fucking go for it.
Yeah.
And it's
Hancock.
like, I think with all of these things, right? Like, if you're writing a fun story, a fun novel,
Yeah.
there's all this stuff in it. There's tension, there's mistakes, there's those feelings of, oh, he's not gonna get it. And Glenn Powell, speaking of the book, he has an amazing line. He goes, if you knew the ending, it wouldn't be worth the watch.
Yeah.
And the peak moment of the intensity of the climax, whether it's a romance novel, an action thriller, right? It's like they're about to die, they're about to miss the plane's about to take off, and the other person's running for them, begging them to stay. Your life's the same. That's why it's so important to make yourself uncomfortable. Think of the audience like watching it as that way. But then a different really good like way to think about it is like, this is how I actually manifest and go about my days. Like, live in the end state of the life that you want. You have it. For me, it's like I'm at my house in Cabo, all my friends there, family, grandkids, all that. And then go about your day today as a 30-year-old with the documentary crew filming you today of what he would be doing. Because then it's like, okay, well, if I know I'm going to get there, then how would I take action about it today? And it's ultimately about being really bold and aggressive. And with that comes mistakes. And with or without the camera rolling, I love smoking cigars up here. And it's like you smoke cigars and you talk about all the times you fucked up with your friends. Those are the stories, and it's like,
those are the good ones.
It's actually really important too, because it's like, what 80-year-old do you want to be? Imagine we're all, Chris, all of our friends, we're all sitting around here, we're all telling stories of all the girls that broke our hearts, all the businesses we tried and failed, the investments we lost money on. We're laughing our asses off. You're giving me
Like,
shit.
what
I'm
an
giving you
idiot.
shit.
Yeah.
Like, what an idiot. How could you do that? And then there's you, the one person with no mistakes, no
Yeah, what
failures.
can you contribute?
No stories. You didn't live a life, and so you have nothing to laugh at, right? And the reason that we can laugh at all that shit, all the mistakes, all the failures, all the heartbreaks, is because it obviously worked out for us. Because we lived life like leaning forward.
And well, it kind of ties into what you were talking about before about like all the successful people have certain things in common. Everyone that I've ever looked up to at some point in some podcast that I've listened to has said like, when they were asked, what would you tell your younger self? They'd be like, stop stressing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, it's easy for them to say because they already have it. But like, imagine your quality of life, how much better it's going to be day to day if you were enjoying all of it. Or laughing like, God, I'm so screwed right now. Like, I can't wait to see how I pull myself out of this.
I mean, you can laugh at everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Sometimes that's all you can
I think I
do.
talk a lot about like people take life way too seriously, because something that I thought about once, I don't know why, I drove past a cemetery and I like kind of pulled over and looked at it. And I was like, damn, everyone's dead. Their life came to an end. And like, think of all the time they spent worried, all the time they spent hating themselves or beating themselves up over mistakes. Think of all the time they spent, worried, anxious, sad even. What a waste.
What a waste.
You don't get that time back, ever, right? And it's like, I think what creates a lot of worry and anxiety, again, goes back to people trying to control the timeline of their life. Oh, I want to make money. I want to be successful. I want to get married. And it's like, I was actually thinking of this yesterday. What a stupid thing to rush through your life.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's the dumbest mistake you'll ever make. Because like, I actually saw a TikTok about it yesterday. It's like this collage of everything from our childhood. Otter Pops, the swing, like wood chips, like playing in the sprinkler. And that was our childhood. And actually, if you think about it, that was so long ago, it doesn't even feel like that was your life. That was a different life of mine, right? And so it's like, man, some point, I'm gonna look back at this current life of mine, single, 30, building my business, building my life, creating my life, and not even be able to comprehend that was my life when I'm 65 years old.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. Like, my parents said that they were looking back at their wedding photos and they're like, it's hard to remember even being that young.
That's crazy.
And it's like, dude, you're 22 right now. Like, you're the youngest you'll ever be. You have no idea how much time you have to be 30. And I have no idea how much time I have being 30, right? And so it's like, you make mistakes. Don't worry,
That's why you have to like
a lot of
absorb perspective that suits you. For me, like I only recently figured out that like I have a lot of people following me that are like seniors in high school and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's like to them, I'm probably like, oh damn, he's gonna
They
figure
would
this
love
out
to
soon
be-
because
No,
like.
they want to be you so badly,
Well, to them, I'm just saying like when I thought about a senior in college, it's like that's an adult right there.
Yeah.
Like you've got the person you're gonna get engaged to, you got
Yeah.
the beginner job and the job you're gonna be with.
Yeah.
Like I went into
Handlebar
college,
mustache.
like I mean, I had given up like everything that I had basically learned. Like when I got into college, it's like all right, I'm just gonna join a frat. Like I'm just gonna, try to just like maximize college because then it's over or whatever. And like obviously everything happened and luckily that did because it changed things. But like for them, they're probably, if they were like me, they're probably looking at him like, dude, he's got one more semester to figure it out. And then I'm luckily old enough to reflect on who that kid was thinking about and be like, well, I'm 4 years ahead thinking like, shit, like that was yesterday, So I think every year you go older, you're like, even older people, like I'll talk to, 40-year-olds and I'm like, you're not 40, like you're not that old.
But
like,
you need, no one, you don't
it
ever
just keeps changing
because-
is what I'm saying. Like, it just keeps changing.
Okay, what are the next real hurdles for me, right? With the business, and then you have employees, and then on the personal side, it's like getting married and starting a family. I've never had kids before. How do you?
That you know about.
Yeah, right. And it's like you have to figure that out, right? And that's what I was saying about, at each stage. Then say when you're 65, you actually have to figure out how to stay young and alive and moving, right? And it's like I think there's this pressure to figure it out. But like, you can actually just flip it on its head and be like, we actually figure out everything we need as we go when we need to figure it out. Because even take this content stuff, right? You only figure it out on the fly.
Yeah.
And it ultimately just like happens, it occurs. Like you don't really know how you'll figure it out. But I think like what's important, and I really feel badly because I think young kids now are like put so much pressure on themselves to be successful, to make money.
Yeah, I did.
And it's like, man, what I learned really valuable in college is like things change. They often get better, but they change. And it's like, you have to just so intensely enjoy wherever you are because you'll never get to come back to this era in your life, right? Like I'm, like I said, like 30, single, living in an amazing house with my friends. Like this is an epic era. And it'll be an epic era when I have kids, and it'll be an epic era when my kids go off to college. It'll be an epic era to see my kids get married. And they're all amazing, but the same way right now when I'm looking at you, I'm like, man, that was a pretty epic time to be in college. Someday I'll look back and be like, man, that was a pretty epic time to be like a 30-year-old bachelor, like building your life, your career and all that. And so it's like, if you know that you're in the good old days right now, your only regret will be that you didn't enjoy them more. And you don't enjoy it because of the pressure. All right, you know what? Let's talk about this because when I used the restroom, I saw that I had 2 tweets get 1 million views each.
That's insane.
And the topic was the guy doing better than you is just having more fun than you. And I think a lot of people are falling into the trap of optimization and locking in and Brian Johnsoning, you know, like monk mode and like supplements and like cold plunges and all that stuff. And I posted a reel today about how Big Sean talks about how you have to be disciplined in what gives you joy. And you would do better in life and next week if you let yourself have fun this weekend. And the reason having fun is so important is it goes back to all these themes that we're talking about, whether it's with your relationship. A relationship dies the minute you guys stop having fun. The same thing with your grandparents, right? The key to staying vibrant and alive is to be youthful and fun. And worrying and not having stress about your life is your approach to life, treating it all as very fun. And when you're not treating it as fun, that's when you're tight and stressed and tensed and worried and anxious. And why people aren't doing better in life is they're not having fun in life. You know, like, I don't really know what the war of woman is, but like something I see a lot about is people are really unhappy with the state of dating. I saw a stat that 70% of people have given up with dating. And it's like, because you're not having fun with it.
How are you gonna give up on dating?
Yeah, right? But it's like, you're not having fun with it. You're not comfortable being yourself. You're trying to do the right things, which obviously comes off the wrong ways. And so those people aren't vibing with you. And so guys and girls are really frustrated with the state of dating because you're not having fun with it. And it all goes back to this idea of like the guy doing better than you or the girl doing better than you just has a better approach to life than you. Because I think like to win the game, you have to just accept that it's a game. A card game or board game. And so just have fun with it. Like just be laughing all the time. You don't get embarrassed. You don't give up easily or not discouraged. You don't care what people think. You laugh. There's a great quote that we are here to laugh at the odds of life and live so well that death will tremble to take us. And an amazing life is a very fun life that obviously then leads to all the success and all the relationships that you desire. But I think like goes back to all these young kids putting pressure on themselves to make money. I think people have forgotten the fact that like there isn't really, what's the point if you're not gonna have fun? You know, like how we started this whole topic of like, at the start of this, like we're on a little blue ball.
Yeah.
And you guys are worried about locking in?
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
You have to be playful about it.
I agree in like certain extent. It's just like kind of like what's dopamine and what's fulfillment. You know, it's like where does your purpose align with, you know, other things.
Yeah.
And
well,
I think I'm not saying you shouldn't do what makes you happy every day, but I'm also saying that there's obviously going out and like with my friends is amazing, but like I have this weird desire to accomplish. And like, do
Yeah.
I feel accomplished when I wake up hungover, even though I just had a great night with my buddies and we just shot the shit and it was amazing? Yeah, no, I don't wake up accomplished. But
I'm really glad you brought that up, because fun is how you do anything. It's not just drinking and partying. You know, it's very fun to win and succeed and to make money.
yeah,
That and accomplish something and turn yourself into something. That is fun. Like, it's not about dicking off and, you know, getting blackout drunk and going and being like a degenerate. That's not what I'm talking about with fun. I'm saying your approach to the whole thing can be fun. Going to the gym, the reason I go to the gym 6 times a week is because the gym is fun for me. I get an hour with my thoughts and music to work on the machine that's my body. Most people hate the gym and are miserable in there, right? And it's like the same thing with our businesses, like, and posting content. The best way to do well with posting content is to have a fun approach to it, because the audience can feel that, you know? And so it's like, my point was like, if what you feel like you're unable to have fun about, that means your life's out of alignment. But like, it's not about drinking. That's obviously a big element of fun, but like, you can actually just, you know, do you have fun on a Tuesday? Probably not, but you can actually enjoy your commute. You can actually enjoy cooking a meal. You can enjoy. Point was, it's not about what fun is, it's about your approach to life. You walk into a big important meeting, you can actually just crack jokes. You know, like,
and that's also like, you know, magnetic. Like,
yes.
if you walk into that job interview trembling, like you're pretty much just like written off and like whatever. But, and I'm also like pretty obtuse take, just because I haven't been in a job interview since I was 14, you know. But I will say like, it's, at least like how I imagine things is, which is ignorant, is I try to imagine like if I was on the other side of the table. And if somebody comes in and they're like having fun with it and they're being themselves and they have that like charisma and confidence and they get the question wrong, I'm gonna be like, I can teach you the right answer to that question, but I can't teach you to be somebody that I want to mentor or wants to be here, you know what I mean?
Well,
so whatever it is that you do, if you like it, you're obviously gonna work harder like you were saying, but does it fulfill you? That's where I was saying, like, you can lock in, but you just gotta make sure you're having fun while you're locked in.
I think when you talk about that example, right? The worst person is the dude who walks in the meeting and is cracking the jokes and being the wise ass, and then he fucks up. Then that guy's an idiot. But when you're the ultimate weapon and you can crack the jokes and be the one who's everyone's telling this, you know, gathered around hearing their stories they want to be around, and then you know what the fuck you're talking about,
then you're a weapon.
Then you're a weapon, right? And so it's like, my point about all this is like, I talk all the time about being the guy. If you want to have an extraordinary life, you have to be the guy in every facet of life. You have to lead by example. You have to be fit. You have to have amazing family, friends. You have to be the people that they call when they need advice. They call when they have a good time. They call when they're taking a trip and they want you to come. The guy's also very successful and lifts all boats and brings people up. That's where I talk about abundance mindset, right? And so it's like, that is who you want to become, the ultimate weapon, who's good at everything. And the way to become good at everything is you have to be willing to look stupid for a bit. You have to be energetic. You have to have a work ethic. And you actually have to be talented. You know, you have to be intelligent and emotionally intelligent. And but when you can become that and know that you can stand on all your skills and then be playful about it, that's where you become the weapon. You know, the ultimate asset. And that's what I'm talking about, is this playfulness. Because like, it was actually a really cool thing when I was doing investment banking. I was your age, and there's these things called bake-offs where you go compete for a company's business. The investment bank that we're working for is trying to sell a business. So think about, we're all real estate agents, and you have this company was $450 million, and you're trying to sell a $450 million home. And so all the agents want your business, and they pitch you why they're going to be able to sell your house for the highest price. And I was 22, and they let me go to this meeting, pitch to this person to sell their baby for $450 million. They don't even let like 35-year-olds go to those. You know, they were like, yeah, you're gonna come and you're gonna present this section. I'm like,
like, okay.
But if you think about it, how good does that look to the firm to have a 22-year-old doing that? They all look like all-stars, like, oh, these guys are cool, dude. You know, that's pretty cool. They're gonna give that guy a position, and this is the analyst who's gonna be doing all the work on the deal, and we got to see him. So of course we won the deal. But it's like, that's where it pays to be the guy. charismatic and like can charm the rooms, you know, like charm is the secret to unlocking the world.
It is, but
You know?
yeah. Well, it's actually lit that you said that because we've never had this conversation, but like my best friend, shout out, and he had a quote that I always remind him of because he just said it like as a joke, but I think it's so true, and it's exactly what you just said was, real studs do it all.
Yep.
I had woken up at like 5 a.m. to do this run video or whatever and film a day in the life, and he was like trying to convince me to go out, and I was like, dude, like I have nothing left, like I'm gonna go out and be boring, whatever. And he goes, Chris, like studs, they do it all. He's like, you woke up early, who fucking cares? You're coming out tonight, like we're gonna like, you know, whatever. And that was like, you know, 2 years ago, and so I just always remind myself of that. It's like studs do it all. Like I can't just lock in on the boring shit and like whatever. Like I have to lock in, take care of what I need to do to, you know, like further myself, and then I also have to enjoy it at the same time, and that's hard. Yeah. And that's what life's about.
That, I mean, exactly. Like you can do it all. You can do it all. You can be fit, successful, fun, charismatic, have fun, say yes to things, right? It's about what you don't do. And I love saying this, we all get the same 24 hours in a day. Some of us just use it a hell of a lot better than other people. You can work out, you can make money, you can be fit, you can go on dates, right? And there's time for it all. But what do we not do? Fantasy football, sports bet, yell at each other about politics, keep up with the news, gossip, right? Like I don't have time for that because I have time for everything else. And like, fuck it, I'll say it. But there was a fun like do it all moment. I was at my best friend since I was 3 years old. Shout out Kobe. And I was at his wedding, and I'm one of the co-best men. And it's like the welcome party, and we all go out after. And so we're in this like town in Mexico. And I was like, can I get like a bottle of tequila or something? They're like, no, we only have beers. I'm like, all right, I need 50 beers. And the guy was like, 50 beers? Like, that's crazy. Like, shakes my hand and stuff. He's like, oh, I'll bring it to you. Like, all this stuff. Yeah, it's like 50 beers. And so it's like, that's what it's about, like making everyone else have fun. I end up like meeting this super cute girl from Mexico City and stuff, and like ended up having a night with her. And it was like late into the night under the stars. And sure enough, my best friend wanted to go surfing the next morning at 7 a.m. It's his wedding day. I'm obviously going to be up at 7 a.m. I know the consequences of my actions. I'm not going to get much sleep, but sure enough, I was the first one up and ready to go surfing. And then like later, I got pounded on the head. We were all horribly hungover. And after coming to my senses, after taking a couple sets on the head, I got like one of the best waves of the day and just got fully shacked, like an amazing barrel. And it's like paddling back out. It's like, yeah, I'm the man. Sometimes you remind yourself, you're like, really fucking bad.
You can always sleep it off later.
That's what Thanksgiving's for, so.
That's what life's about right there.
That I'm glad you said that, because like one of my friends and I, like, we love this idea of that's what life's all about. And it's like, that's what you got to prioritize. It's not even the money. It's not locking in. It's not having a six pack. It's like, it's always friends, memories, and experiences. That's what it's about.
To making it all work, man.
This is what it's all about. So I think that's a good place to end. But our relationship is what it's all about, and these cool conversations. So hopefully you guys can find time to have really good conversations with people you admire.
And comment in the description a name for the podcast. I don't think you have one yet, but
I
need
do.
one.
It's called Local Legends.
Local Legends. Okay, well that's actually how we met.
Because it's an ode to the guys who do it all, to the people that you want to be, guys and girls. Like, it actually was inspired to me from how I was brought up with all the dads and the moms in our community. They're all just the best. They're all like parents to me. You know, it's the dad that everyone's Little League team they want to be on. It's the mom who's there who brings the oranges and picks you guys up. And it's like just the people. It's what it's all about.
That's fire, man.
Yeah. So, Local Legends, episode 1.
Episode 1,
Chris
baby.
Magee,
Let's go.
bro. Love it.
Hell yeah.
Cheers.